Today on Happy Cooking with Yvonne Douglas, we're going to make some Hungarian stuffed cabbage. I remember this when I was a child and I loved it so much, and I cannot wait to show you this recipe, so stay tuned. Okay, so let's talk about the ingredients you're going to use to make this delicious Hungarian stuffed cabbage. Now this recipe is actually based on my mom's recipe, the way she used to make it. However, I tweaked it a lot and kind of changed a lot of things up. So let's talk about what you're going to need. The very first thing you'll need is a ½ pound of ground pork and a ½ pound of ground beef. I do use both of them. I mix it together. My mom actually, I think she just used ground pork or ground beef, but I'm mixing them together. Another thing you'll need is 1/3 cup of the peppers right here. These are the Aurora Bites mini peppers. I got this at Target. Anyway, these are super sweet, really good, and I use the yellow, orange, and red peppers. So you'll need about 1/3 cup chopped up really small. And then you'll need 1/4 cup of parsley chopped up and ½ teaspoon of dill weed. That's definitely important there. And you'll need 1 cup of chopped white onion. You'll also need about approximately a cup of Gouda cheese mixed with some Swiss cheese. I'm telling you, it's gonna be so good with the cheese. And you'll need 1 large can of tomato sauce. You'll need some long grain rice. I'm using this jasmine rice here. You'll need about 1/3 cup. And you'll need some extra virgin olive oil, minced garlic, garlic powder, onion powder. You'll need salt and pepper and a little bit of butter. And I believe the most important thing of this cabbage. Now when you look for your cabbage, try your best to find a large cabbage head, and because you'll have more leaves to use. But anyway, make sure you get a good one. Make sure it's kind of smooth where it's not too bumpy, because it'll be easier to roll the cabbage rolls. And so I got this one right here, and you'll definitely have to boil water because you're going to immerse this large cabbage roll into the boiling water. Okay, so we're back. So looking at our cabbage head, you can see that you have the core that you need to take out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get this small paring knife, and I'm going to cut around that core. There you go. So the core comes out. You want to make sure that core is gone, and that's going to make it a lot easier when you immerse the cabbage head into the boiling water and when you release the leaves later on. So when that water boils, we'll be back and we'll immerse our cabbage head. Okay, so my water is boiling, so I'm ready to immerse my cabbage into the water, the boiling water. And I'm going to kind of let that now simmer pretty much like on a low flame for approximately, let's say 20 minutes or so. So I'm gonna cover it up, and now we're gonna work on the filling. Okay, so we're back, and we're gonna work on the filling now. And I'm gonna start it off by putting on the flame, probably around a medium flame right now. And I'm gonna use approximately a tablespoon of butter and a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. So I'm gonna start out with the extra virgin olive oil. Just put a little bit in there. And then I'm gonna get my butter. I'm using 1 tablespoon of butter. And I'm gonna let that melt, and then I'm going to saute my onions and garlic in there. I just love onions and garlic. I think I make a lot of things, actually a lot of dishes with onions and garlic. It's just a great combination. Tastes really good. So let me just melt that up a little bit. And then get my, don't forget this is 1 cup of a white onion that's chopped really, really small, very fine. And also I need 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. So here's my 1 teaspoon. And I'm gonna just get my fork here. Actually, it's right here. All right. Stir that up a little bit and get my onions. Just gonna blend that all together. It smells so good already. And I'm going to let that cook for approximately 5 minutes. Cover it up, and we'll be back. Okay, so let's check on those onions and garlic. Yum. Looks really good. They've been cooking for approximately 5 minutes. Maybe it was 4, but it doesn't have to be exact. It looks good. Now what I'm gonna do is, right now at this stage, I'm gonna add my pepper. Just add some pepper to my onions. And just a little pinch of salt. Okay. Stir that up. And now I'm going to add my ground beef and my ground pork. Okay, and I'm just going to stir that up, mix the onions with the meat, with the beef and the pork. And you're gonna cook this until it's browned. And we'll be back. Okay, so the meat is pretty much browned right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add this is 1/3 of a cup of those chopped peppers, the red, orange, and yellow peppers. So I'm adding that to my beef mixture there, giving that a good stir. Smells really good. I like adding those peppers to it. It really gives it such great flavor. You can add some mushrooms to this too, by the way. Sometimes I make it with mushrooms, and it tastes really good with the mushrooms and the garlic and the onions. Wow, it's really good, but you don't have to, especially if you don't like mushrooms. So this is just another way to make it, and adding in those peppers. All right, so this has probably another 2 to 3 minutes to brown, and then we'll be back. Okay, so we're back, and the meat's pretty much brown. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our tomato sauce. Now this is a large can of tomato sauce, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add probably about half to this beef mixture. And I'm gonna add half a cup of water. I'm also gonna add my teaspoon of chopped dill, a little bit more pepper, and then give that a good stir. And then you have to add, which is super duper important, you have to add your rice. So remember, this was 1/3 of a cup of rice. I'm gonna add my rice to that. And stir that. and I'm gonna put it on a high flame because I want it to boil at first, and then we're going to simmer it and let it cook for approximately 15 to 18 minutes. It smells so good. You might be wondering about the cheese. Well, we're gonna add the cheese too, but we're gonna add that towards the end. So we're gonna wait approximately, let's say 15, 20 minutes, and then it should be done, and we'll roll up those cabbage rolls. Stay tuned. Now, while my meat is still cooking, I'm going to take out my cabbage. My cabbage looks like it is pretty much done. And when you take it out, you need to be really careful. So I'm going to kind of get my Chinese strainer and this fork here, because it is pretty heavy. Let it drain, and I'm going to put it in this pan right here. Let the rest of it drain, and then I'll show you how to peel it, so stay tuned. Okay, so you can kind of see that my meat is kind of boiling now, so I'm going to reduce the flame, and I'm also going to add the cheese. Now, I'm not going to add all of it. I'm probably going to add about half or so, because I want to save the other half for a topping later on. All right, so let me just stir that in there. That Gouda cheese, because it's so good. And the Swiss cheese. Wow, how can you go wrong with cheese, right? It's gonna be so yummy. All right, I'm gonna give this a good stir, and then I'm gonna cover this and let this cook for 15 to 18 minutes. Okay, looks good. Cover it up, and we'll be back. So looking at my cabbage here, I was kind of taking some of the leaves, kind of spreading them apart a little bit. We have to let it cool, because otherwise you really can't manage it too well because it's too hot. So we're gonna have to let it cool. Just kind of peel these leaves back just a little bit. I'm using this fork here to do that, and it'll cool, and then we'll be able to make those cabbage rolls, so stay tuned. Okay, really quick, I want to show you something else that's really important. On your cabbage, you might see that there, for the vein there, it's kind of, if it's kind of hard, then you really want to just peel that off, get your knife and kind of just cut that part off, because it'll just get in the way when you're trying to roll the cabbage, all right? So I'm gonna go really close, take that off right there, that hard part, and you want it nice and smooth, okay? And then when we're back, we'll start stuffing them. All right, stay tuned. All right, so let's take a look at our meat mixture here. It's been approximately 15 minutes, and it looks like it's coming along really nicely. So once the rice is softened, then you know it is ready. So 15, 18 minutes or so, it should be done, okay? So now the last thing I want to do is I want to add just a little bit of garlic powder and a little bit of onion powder, just to add a little bit more of that garlic and onion. That's how I do it. And just a touch, a little bit more pepper, and then give that a good stir. Looking really good. Okay, it smells, wow, it smells really, really good too. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our parsley. Look at those colors, look at that. Can you see that, how pretty that looks? It looks so pretty. All right. If you like more parsley, you can put more parsley. I use 1/3 of a cup, but I'm sorry, 1/4 of a cup, but if you would like to use more than that, you can. All right, looking good. All right, now we'll be back and I'm gonna show you how to stuff them. Okay, so welcome back. So let me show you how we're going to fill these. So I have my cabbage leaves here, and look how pretty they look, wow. And once again, if you have that thick stem, you want to kind of cut that off with a knife, maybe a paring knife. And we're going to start to fill these. So before I fill them, I have this is a baking dish here. This is 9x13 Pyrex baking dish. You can use something like that. I'm just gonna use a little bit of that tomato sauce from that big can and put it at the bottom. Okay, I want to coat the bottom. I'm going to give it a little shake here. Just make it all even like that. Okay, and I'm gonna add just a little bit of pepper at the bottom of that. All right, so now I'm gonna get my filling here, my delicious filling. And I'm going to place a good amount, maybe like a little bit more than a tablespoon. And I'm going to fold in and bring these sides in. Hopefully you can see that. Bring those sides in and then roll it just like that. And I'm gonna place it right there. Let's do another one. So right here, I'm looking at my cabbage leaf. Here's the stem. I'm gonna get a good amount on my spoon here. Maybe like 1.5 spoons, maybe or 2. And then I'm going to fold it, bring this side in, and then roll it. Roll it on the river, roll it up. There we go, place that in there. Wow, it looks so pretty. And then let's see. This stem's still a little thick here. Let me take this off. Super important that you do that. It'll roll better, and you don't want to eat a really thick stem either. Another spoonful. Now this one's a little bit smaller leaf, so I'm only gonna do 1. So it really depends on your leaf, how large it is. So sometimes you might need 2 spoonfuls, sometimes it just might be 1. So I fold it in, and then roll. Roll, roll, roll. Place that thing, I'm gonna put that one over here. And I'm just gonna keep making my cabbage rolls. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're back. And so now we're gonna put a little topping over the stuffed cabbage. Look how awesome that looks. That looks so good. And this one made approximately 10. I do have some extra leaves, but that's all I can fit in my pan right here. So it makes a little bit more than 10, probably makes around 12 to 13. And so what I'm gonna do, I have some water in here, probably about 1/4 of a cup of water. And I'm gonna add some of that tomato sauce, the rest of that tomato sauce that was in that can. And I'm gonna give that a good stir. You wanna dilute that tomato sauce a little bit because it's just to give it a coating. And I'm just going to drizzle this over the cabbage rolls for moisture, so it stays nice and moist. All right, wow, that looks good. And the remaining cheese you're gonna add at the very end after you take it out of the oven, so keep that in mind. All right, so we're gonna get some foil, cover this up. I have a 350-degree oven that is preheated, and we're going to bake this at probably around, let's say 20-25 minutes. All right, so stay tuned and we're gonna see that final result. Now, before I put it in the oven, I'm going to make sure that after I use my little tomato sauce and water mixture, I'm gonna just get these extra leaves and place them on top, just as a little covering, like that. And then I'm gonna get my aluminum foil. And then I'm gonna put it in the oven And like I said, it's going to cook for approximately 20 to 25 minutes at 350 degrees. So stay tuned. Okay, so welcome back. So it's been about 25 minutes or so. So we're gonna take it out and see if it's done. Check it out. Wow, it looks so good. And the top cabbage that we placed there, we can just remove that. You can eat that. Oh, but look at them, they look so good. Wow. Oh, let me take one out, put it on my plate here. Oh, wow. I think I'm gonna take two. I'm gonna take a big one and a small one here. Oh, I love how that looks. I wanna sprinkle that cheese on it a little bit. That Swiss cheese and Gouda cheese. And I'm actually gonna just sprinkle it on here too. There we go. And of course, I'm going to add some sour cream to it. So let me get a dollop of sour cream. Now let's make it 2 dollops. Why not? And yummy. Look at that. Look how yummy that looks. Looks so good. And of course, we have to give it a taste test. So here we go. I cannot wait. Oh. Oh yeah. Wow, that's really, really good. I hope you try out this recipe. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe and like this video. And happy cooking. Bye-bye.